all of you for joining in at this moment for this workshop. And it is basically, I'm extending a very warm welcome to all the intellectual and worthy seniors. And this moment is inspiring for the person who's conducting the workshop as well as for the people who are attending. And I think there's nothing better than this because this means that we are putting the technology to the very appropriate use, and we are crossing all barriers of time and lapses and trying our best to connect with each other, no matter we are confined to the safe boundaries of our homes. But at the same time, we are able to you know uh, dissipate all the energies that we have with each other. We share our ideas and views, and all of us will agree to this, that we should be thankful to our principal ma'am for channelizing our energies in this direction. Had it not been her idea, we were little casual at our own pace, working and delivering our duties, but still, what next? What out
Good
of.
morning, Pushpinder.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you? So good
Good
to.
afternoon. Yes, it's afternoon now. I'm fine. Please carry on. Just wanted to register my presence that I'm here. Yeah.
And thank you very much
I'll
for.
be here for some time only because I've got little time, but I'd like to listen to you.
I
Please
think
carry on.
presence makes all the profound difference. Thank you very much. And we all of us met the individuals who were there in the school. We met Principal Ma'am on Monday after the workshop conducted by VP Ma'am on NEP. Ma'am's major concern was how are we gonna implement NEP, because it's a very comprehensive subject and it's a very detailed one. The implementation in itself will take the planning and strategy making on a war footing level. Everything is going to change after we are about to implement NEP. So, ma'am's idea one was that we'll start, all of us should read about it and work on the strategies and implementation, planning and structuring and everything. But at the same time, whenever I meet ma'am, there's always something to take away. So, what was the takeaway in that meeting? It was that because we are not running a regular school at the moment because of this COVID, we have a lot of time at hand. We are not doing duties like bus duties and checking of notebooks and everything in school. So a lot of time at hand, which we can actually put to constructive use and upgrade ourselves as individuals. Because the moment the school reopens, all the permutation combinations which were existing before this pre-COVID will not be applicable in post-COVID. So what do? We have to, one is immunity, health-wise, okay, one, we've been doing it. But then we have to immune ourselves. We have to work on immunity at mental level and at emotional level as well, which is very important. Unless that is in place, other things will start shaking. So keeping that in mind, today's topic is from powerless to powerful. I'm sure all of us must have, faced power crisis at home some or the other time. So what do? Either we go and the inverter starts on its own, or the generator. Now, if you look closely, I'll start the sharing of my PPT as well so that we can have a look at it. Okay. So basically, what do? We the inverter and the generator. Now, if you look closely at the two words, inverter and the generator, they are self-explanatory words. Invert inside, you can go inside and the power will automatically be there. Or the generator, the source, it will generate another source of energy and your appliances will be back in power. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we use that example in our own lives? How do we convert our energies into an inverter or a generator? So this is what we are going to discuss today. And before we do that, it is always better to relate to examples which are just near about us in our vicinity, which we're using daily, because that makes the concepts relatable. So one more example which I want to quote is that all of us are tech savvy. We have a lot of gadgets. You pick up an ordinary remote control as well, remote. It has an inbuilt battery. Your laptops, our mobile phones, our tabs, everything has inbuilt batteries. So what do these batteries do? They provide energy, provide source to work, and they're inbuilt. Now that is the keyword, inbuilt. So inbuilt means that in case there is no external source of energy to plug in, what do? You have your own inbuilt battery. If a gadget can have, I'm sure we individuals can have that energy as well. So all these powers, all these energies are right there in us. They're very much within us. Only thing that we need to do is to channelize ourselves, to recognize that we have these powers within us and how to put them to the right use. Now you'll be surprised to know that we have as many as 8 powers in our cell. I mean, that's a huge amount, 8 powers. It's not the power of only that physical strength, but it's right here. So if we recognize those powers, if we know how to put in which situation can we use which power, I'm sure most of our turbulent phases, our difficulties, our stress levels will come down. And it will make us a better person to perform in a society, in an organization, and the outcome of all that will be fruitful. I'm sorry for this bad cough. I'm sure it'll keep coming up as I'll speak, but I'm sure you'll excuse me for that. Okay, moving on. I always love this statement that we all are superheroes. We're not just heroes. I'm sure during childhood, all of us has seen movies of Superman, Spider-Man, bringing out webs and climbing from wall to wall and jumping and or doing all sort of stuff, saving lives. We all are superheroes as well. We are not ordinary human beings. Why? Because we have all these powers, and they're innate powers. Innate means that they're right within us. And we have we have free access to all of them. Only thing is that we need to recognize and put them to the right use. And no matter what kind of situation you are into, whatever the situation may be, X, Y, Z, big, small, trivial, or very magnanimous, there's always a power within you which can help you to deal with that situation. There's no situation where none of the powers will work. Even for example, like COVID, people say that one invisible virus, it has brought the super nations to their knees. It has brought all technology, everything to an halt. Everything is standstill. People are feeling hopeless. They're feeling powerless. They don't know what to do, how to deal with it. But if you look closely, you'll find people are rising up again. We have worked out on things which will help us combat this virus. till the time vaccine comes in. And even if after vaccine comes in, we all are working on that. Ma'am started online classes much before leading schools did that. Ma'am is already working on NEP. Her future foresightedness is working on it. So basically, it has not stopped us. Only thing is that walking has become a little staggered, but we have all learned how to stand up again and start walking. So and why is that possible? Because we have those powers inside us. So today we'll be discussing those powers. Okay. Now the first power is to pack up. The pack up doesn't mean that I'm asking all of you to pack your bags and leave for a vacation. No, we are not doing that. And pack up doesn't mean that the things are ending. Okay, pack up, okay, let's go back home. No, it's not that. Basically, I'll start with an example that all of us have, but some of the other time we have traveled by air. And when we reach airport, the one thing that always jitters us is that there shouldn't be an extra baggage or the weight should not be exceeding the limit, because beyond that they do not allow you. Either they'll ask you to keep the stuff there, or probably you'll have to pay extra, which you don't want to do. So we leave that extra baggage. So what is that extra baggage? What do we need to pack up? What is that something which is extra, which is not needed, which is not required? So that is the extra idle waste and negative thoughts. If they'll stay with you, obviously you will bear that burden. Your weight will increase. Now, weight is not that body mass weight I'm talking about, but your intellect weight, your emotional baggage will increase. And that will obviously make your traveling, your journey in this life, a difficult one. Either you'll be paying extra, right? Paying in kinds, not in cash, of course. You'll be paying extra in different kind of forms. You'll be depressed, you'll be upset. It might ruin the relationships we have with our family, friends, and colleagues, or it will pull you down. It will hamper your output, your performance. But if you're able to pack these negative thoughts and send them away, that I'm not going to carry them no matter what, it will make your traveling very, very light. You'll feel light, you'll feel happy because you're not having anything negative. So it is one thing, the very first thing that you have to do, and to practice it every particular day, every single day, that you have to pack up these negative things, send them away, done with it. And it makes the journey light, and not just light, at the same time, it makes an ample space for new learnings, great thoughts, and creative ideas, so that you can work, you can enhance your performance, you can elevate from what you are existingly looking like. So it brings a new bloom to your personality. It enhances your charm. You come across as a lovable, friendly person, helpful, joyful, and it brings happiness to others as well. So it is very important to pack your negative thoughts and send them away. Okay, I hope I'm audible to everyone. Am I? Okay, looks like. Okay, so how to tolerate. Now, tolerate doesn't mean that I'm asking you that tolerate anything that's been thrown at you. No, take any kind of nuisance that is being, subjected, you are subjected to. No, tolerate doesn't mean that. Tolerate basically is not to let the influence of your negative situations overpower you. They basically would try to, A negative situations are having a lot of negative energy, and they can actually pull you down. Everybody faces negative situations, turbulent phases, bad phases, but how do you react to them? That is the key. So if you have power, endurance power, if you have power to tolerate, सहन शक्ति, which we say, tolerate is mean कि आप कुछ भी, anything that is bad is happening, you'll keep taking it. No. But सहन शक्ति is your power to endure, your endurance level. That has to be high. And that'll be high only if you're mentally strong. If you're weak, the situation will take over you. So we have n number of examples which we can read about, we can know about, and we can learn from them. One is Guru Nanak Dev Ji. When he was a child, when he was a teenager, a lot of people used to, his own parents, probably his father, used to refuse to understand him and used to at times ridicule him, even slapped him. But what did he do? He didn't deter from what he was doing. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the martyrdom of Guru Arjan Dev Ji teaches us so much of endurance level. He went through all that, tatti tavi pe baithna and garam reet se chupwa lena. He tolerated all that with a beautiful, peaceful smile on his face. He didn't deter from his principles. The negative situations were not able to pull him down in any given circumstances. It's not that Guruji was not able to do anything. He could have done. But what he taught us with that martyrdom is the quality of endurance. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Do you think he was that weak that he could not stand up against Aurangzeb? He could have. But he wanted to teach this principle of endurance, of tolerance. He could see his beloved Sikhs being sacrificed before his eyes. He could see that. But he had that high level of endurance, that the smiles and Guru's Simran didn't leave his face. Guru Gobind Singh Ji sacrificed all his sons. And yet he stood strong. Those things never were able to pull them down. So why did our gurus lay these examples in front of us? So that we can learn from them, we can use those principles in our lives and be somewhere like them. I'm sure we cannot be exactly be like them because they were the souls of the Almighty, but we can try to. I'll tell you a very short story of Mahatma Buddha. One day he was sitting with his disciples. Give me a second, please. Mahatma Buddha was sitting with his disciples, and there was a person who came to meet him and said, I don't like you. And just with a whiff, he started abusing Gautam Buddha. He abused and abused, and he used all sorts of words to insult him as much as he could. He kept doing it for as long as he wanted. And then finally, he couldn't say more, so he stopped and left. The disciples were angry, they were cross with Gautam Buddha. That why didn't you say anything to him? You could have. He was hurling all sorts of abuses at you, and you were just taking it. Why didn't you say anything? So he said, why will I take something which I don't require? As simple as that. He wanted to abuse me. He did what he wanted, but I didn't want that. That was all trash for me. If I'll not take it, how does that matter? I didn't say anything because I didn't take. I refused to take anything which he was hurling at me. So he refused to take all those insults and abuses. He didn't have to say anything. So that's the power of tolerance. Today, if you are driving and somebody takes a wrong turn or overtakes you, within a drop of a hat, within seconds, we are up in arms. How dare he does that? That is how low our power of tolerance is. If I am waiting at a signal and the moment the signal turns green, the person behind me would start honking. And what do? I get restless. Can't he wait? Of course he can. If he doesn't know how to wait, at least I know how to tolerate. So that is how. A bit simple examples from life, but if we start practicing them, they'll help us. And they'll and as teachers, I think our level of endurance should be higher than any other one because we are dealing with 40 different personalities in one class and then 30 odd personalities as our colleagues and then 30 more personalities as our seniors and the management and parents. So it does matter a lot. Okay, I think there's some problem with the sharing. uh, I think I missed out on welcoming a lot of new people have joined us. So, extending a warm welcome and good afternoon to everyone. Okay, so we were at the power to tolerate. There's one more example that we can quote in power to tolerate is that once Maharaja Ranjit Singh was with his men, he was in a garden and uh, he was hurt by a stone which an old woman was pelting at a tree. So his men ran to his rescue and they arrested that lady. And they said, "You've hurt the Maharaja and you'll be punished." She was okay. She said, then she said one sentence. She said uh, that the tree who's bearing the fruits is much better than you, the king. You call yourself Maharaja. I was pelting the stones at the tree, and the tree was giving me fruits in return. What about you? I didn't even hurt you, it was by mistake. And then Maharaja Ranjit Singh realized that how foolish is it to react to certain situations like these. We should, even if somebody is subjecting us to some kind of a disrespect or insult which we feel should not be given to us, we can either walk away from that situation or just leave it as it is rather than reacting in that same fashion. But what do? We carry those insults, we accept those insults. That is why we get angry, that is why we get cross. How dare that person say such a thing to me? It hurts our ego basically. मान है तभी तो अभिमान है, तभी तो अपमान है. अगर अभिमान नहीं है तो अपमान ही नहीं है. As simple as that. So leave it. That's his problem. That person who's subjecting you to an insult, that's his problem. So leave it. Leave the problem with that person. Don't bring along that problem with you. And learn to tolerate that situation in a positive manner. Okay. Then we are going to discuss the part to accommodate. Accommodate means, in a layman terms, if we try to find out a meaning, it would say adjust. We do a lot of adjustments every day. As women, we do innumerable adjustments. As a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as a daughter-in-law, as wife, multiple roles we are playing, and we are expected, actually, that's the right word, that we are expected to adjust. We don't have a choice many times. But if we understand that every individual is unique, and has an independent way of thinking and very much a unique school of thought. My school of thought, we might all be working in the same organization. My qualifications might be same as yours. We might be on the same scale. We might be teaching the same subject, same class. We might be twins. Still, our schools of thought will be different. It is you can understand it in a simpler fashion if I explain you that all of us are Homo sapiens, right? That's the scientific name of human beings. We all are made up of cells and atoms. We all have the same digestive system, same nervous system, same skeletal system, same circulatory. The whole body organization is same. Your blood composition is same as mine. Eyes, nose, sense organs function in the same way in all the human beings, and yet we all are different. How beautiful is that? I have same structure as yours, and yet we two are different individuals. So that explains that we need to respect the individuality and the uniqueness of the person, of the people who are around us. That is very important. And once we do that, obviously, sorry, if I respect you, you'll respect me in return. If I don't, I should not be expecting, right? So now coming to another aspect of this, that if we have versatile people around us, the clashes are bound to happen. Everybody cannot think in the same direction. Okay, you can have your own perception, and yet at the same time you can respect the other one. Now this means that we need to build up a power inside us to accommodate others' opinions, others' views, others' intellect as well. Only I am right. This has to go. We all can be right in some or the other fashion. For example, if you see the ocean, the adjective that we use for ocean is mighty. Mighty means Vishal, Samudra. Why an ocean is called mighty? Why a river is not called mighty? Because a river just brings in everything and throws it at the ocean. And what does the ocean do? It calmly absorbs all the rivers that are coming to it, bringing whatever they are. And then what does it do? It filters out all the trash and keeps the water. So you might come across a lot of people with a number of views, ideas, principles, different schools of thought. Absorb them, accommodate them, adjust them. Don't refuse them. Don't shun them away. Don't send them away. Don't ridicule them. Listen to them. Keep what is of use to you. The rest is all good. And that is why we call God Almighty. Doesn't He accommodate all of us? He has infinite number of children, and He accommodates all of us with all different personalities. He's accommodating all of us. Isn't that amazing? So that is the power to accommodate. I think the meeting will get over in another minute or so. So I request all of you to kindly join back. I'll be really grateful to all of you. Power to discriminate. Next, we're going to discuss is power to discriminate. Now, discrimination doesn't mean you have to discriminate people around you. No, I'm myself a very staunch believer in equality. So power to discriminate, no, it's not that you have got the power now right to discriminate. No, we are not talking about that. Basically, we're talking about discriminating between good and bad. between worthwhile and worthless. So how do we do that? See, I always believe that our inner conscious is very strong and knows what is right and what is wrong. Before somebody comes and tells us, we know it's wrong and it's a negative thought. It is the power is within you. If you know that you have to discriminate, you have to take this away, we're done. It's a very simple thing. Good and bad. We have to differentiate between the two. Most of the time, what happens is that these negative energies, negative elements, negative ideas, they cloud our power. They cloud our judgment.